One of the things I hear all the time when I meet Colby graduates is how their experience at Colby has ended up changing the direction of their lives in the most positive ways. And the relationships that they developed here were relationships that became meaningful, important parts of their lives. They became networks for them that opened worlds of opportunities that they wouldn't have known about otherwise. And that's a very important part of being at a place like Colby. Everybody I talk to talks about the way that Colby has just gotten better and better and better over time. If anything, I'd like to continue that and ideally, hopefully, start to accelerate some of that pace of positive change that's happened at Colby over time. There's so much to do here. There's so much to build on here. Colby is in such great shape that when I look at it, I just see incredible potential for this college. And it's really about bringing this whole community together to think about the way that Colby can become an even more powerful version of itself, a place that stays true to its values, true to its core mission, but continues to evolve and change in ways that make Colby an even more extraordinary place in the future. Of course, they're incredibly smart, talented students who are in a position to make the most of a Colby education, to understand what it takes to be able to do work in an environment where you have a close relationship with a faculty member, where the expectations are always going to be high. But I also see something else in Colby students. The Colby students, the ones I've talked to and the alums that I've talked to, are ready to do something meaningful in the world. They're ready to do something that's going to make a major change in areas that they are concerned most about. That to me is really the power of a liberal arts education, is being able to provide students with the kind of education that will afford them a full range of opportunities in life and will allow them to have a major impact in their chosen field. Colby students are prepared that way and they're ready to go out and to be able to make a difference. I also see in Colby students a real commitment to being engaged in the life of the college. For some of them, that means being on one of the great athletic teams at Colby. In the same way that students have opportunity in music, in the arts, while they're here, in the clubs that they form, while they're at the Pew Center, there are great opportunities for students who come to Colby. So the global nature of these colleges, I think, is just going to become more robust over time. That to me is all to the good for these institutions. They'll be strengthened by those changes, by making strong connections with other organizations and institutions, by seeing themselves as fully global players, by increasing the diversity of their student body, and in fact being able to ensure that their faculty is diverse as it can be. These are all going to be very positive changes over time. The decisions we make now are going to have a major impact on Colby for many decades to come. And making those decisions is a real, intense, and difficult challenge. And the best way to get there is to bring many different voices to the table, to have a full diversity of perspectives and to be able to argue and challenge one another, and to really get to the essence of Colby and what it's about and where it's going. If you look at Colby 50 years ago and you look at it now, it's changed in dramatic ways, but in other ways it continues to be the same Colby. There are some really interesting and fundamental questions that a place like Colby can wrestle with. It doesn't have to. It's doing extraordinarily well on its own right now, but my view is the places that really take a hard assessment of themselves, that are willing to wrestle with those questions in a meaningful way, have the best chance of leading the American higher education system well into this century. This is a place that has been so well run, so well led by the faculty, by the staff, by the students, by the presidents, by the board for a long period of time, that it's positioned now to stake out an even more visible and powerful leadership role among higher education institutions in the United States.